compelling commentary, hard-hitting interviews, information that really matters. It's time for Chad Adams on the Morning Beat.
The following takes place between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Big Talker FM, WLTT, 106.3, 93.7. For those joining us online, thebigtalkerfm.com. Thank you. Points Abroad, glad to have you as part of our show. Hey, we just passed over 500 folks on the new Facebook endeavor, the Big Talker Morning Team. We appreciate that. In the studio with me this morning, very special friend, Bill Randall, and I say that as a term of endearment. Bill and I went through the gauntlet of the NCGOP race for the chairman last year, and Bill had become, by the end of that, a very good friend. We spoke often. We still do. And then he decided to run for Congress. Now, what happened in that ever-loving mind of his, I don't know. Former Navy guy, you would have thought, hey, he had more sense than that. But I guess being on a boat or something may have hurt his ability to make decisions. But no, Bill Randall running for Congress, the 13th District, against a very liberal guy named Brad Miller, who gerrymandered the district in such a way to protect himself, went through a brutal primary. Former New Orleans resident who saw the ravages of Katrina and what happened there in the governmental affairs. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Chad, it's great to have this opportunity to come and talk to you and your audience.
We had Renee Elmers on, who's running against Bob Etheridge, another interesting congressional guy, and certainly are very pleased to have you as part of our show. I know you're covering a lot of territory, and you're all the way down here in Wilmington. Your district is roughly northern Wake County, heading up toward the Virginia line, kind of creeps over toward Alamance and creeps a little to the east as well. And how is the campaign going so far?
I'm actually heartened by the campaign. We're garnering a lot of excitement and enthusiasm everywhere we go. We've had town hall meetings now in all of the 7 counties, and we're really excited about the prospects of being able to support the people and actually represent them ultimately after the November election.
I mean, you and I spoke not too long ago at the Tea Party movement on Tax Day up in Raleigh at the state capitol grounds there. You gave us a very stirring speech there. You've been on Fox News. You are not a shrinking violet in any sense of the word, are you?
Chad, that's not for me to say. I'll let others comment according to that. But my purpose is really to personify really the motto of the campaign, and that is from the people for the people.
Okay, so why are you a Republican?
I'm a Republican basically because there are no principles in the Republican Party platform that violate the U.S. Constitution or my faith.
So that's why you're a Republican. Now, why are you running for Congress?
I'm running for Congress because, first of all, I'm not only a parent, but I'm a grandfather and 3 grandchildren out in California. The prospects of leaving them a nation similar to the one that we were accustomed to or are accustomed to, and we're losing is shrinking day by day. So there's a lot at stake. I and many others are very angry. We're very frustrated with the wrangling and politics as usual. The people in Washington, D.C., as my good friend Ed Rapp has said, the go-along to get-along crowd,
right.
And really are not principled and are not really representing the interests of their constituents. Well, we need a new generation of representatives to change that.
Well, you have been working very hard. Last year you covered a lot of territory and then jumped into this race, a very brutal race, I mind you, with Bernie Reeves, I believe, was your opponent, and then didn't clarify everything on Election Day and had to go through the runoff process, as I recall, as well, because there were multiple candidates there. You successfully won that, did well, and now you're moving on to November. It's a huge, huge fundraising thing. There's a lot of money that needs to be raised. What are the issues that you think your opponent, Brad Miller, who has served in Congress and a very liberal voting record, by the way, what are the issues that in your district you think resonate with the voters?
I can't think of one issue that my opponent is on the correct side of, not the major issues that impact the lives of the people in North Carolina's 13th Congressional District. Of course, you're talking about the economy and jobs and revitalizing business. The liberals have said that the free markets failed. Hogwash and applesauce to that. The free markets didn't fail. What happened was the government meddling in the free market is what caused the imploding tendencies and the real chaos that we have in the financial markets, the overburdening tax system that we have, and just in general the federal government getting in the way of increased commerce and business is really first and foremost what we want to approach and attack when we go into D.C. So I think that that is a very important one. There are many other issues, but that first and foremost, jobs in the economy.
Now, you saw what happened in New Orleans. A very, very personal story for you. It probably led to a lot of your political involvement. And I want to go through that story. I'm going to have to take a break here shortly, but I'll just wrap that up, and then I want to continue the story because I've read it, you sent it to me, and I want our listeners to hear a little bit about what your experience was in New Orleans. So let's start with that. The storm hits. There's horrible things that are happening. The government's being blamed, not to mention the fact that New Orleans didn't have an evacuation plan, which and buses were sitting in parking lots that got flooded. But they asked, after the aftermath, they asked for solutions. You stepped up to get involved in offering solutions. What happened, and describe what all went down at that point?
Well, my family and I were living in the vicinity of Pensacola, Florida, which was about 200 miles to the east of New Orleans. New Orleans has a Clear Channel radio station that we could pick up easily in Pensacola, and so we were listening to the radio for that news station, and we were able to pick up things. And of course, since we're from New Orleans and have family and everything, we had a very high interest in what was going on there, and so we would pick up things that the national media wouldn't get for 2, 3, 4 days. And one of the members, and actually the president of the city council, Oliver Thomas, got on the radio one day. He was being interviewed, and he said, a lot of people are frustrated with what's going on, and we understand your frustration, but if anybody has any ideas or things that you can bring forth to help, we're willing to listen to anyone. It really touched me and it resonated with me. So I took the time to enumerate about 20 items for recommendations for the city of New Orleans to for them to consider. I called in. I contacted the city hall. They told me the procedure to get on the docket, and so I got on the docket. And all this is a matter of public record. The Freedom of Information Act. Anyone can look it up, and they can actually go and look at the videotape. It was on the 17th of November 2005 that I appeared before the city council in New Orleans, and when I did and went over the ideas, as soon as I was done, it took me about 15 minutes or so to go through all of the items, 20 minutes at the most. The president of the city council stepped off of the platform, walked all the way around to the podium where I was standing, and before everyone he said, "Mr. Randall, we are absolutely appreciative of what you have said and blah, blah, blah. We have not given you enough time to speak today." He says, as a matter of fact, people that come here usually are complaining about this, that, and the other, but it's so refreshing to have you have these ideas. We want you to come back next month to give you a lot more time to go into greater detail on the ideas that you have for New Orleans. And he said right on the spot, there's one of these ideas with coming up with a plan of actions and milestones we're going to adopt immediately, and the other things that we're definitely going to look into. And so, that was all fine and dandy, and they invited me to come back.
That's a good place to stop. So you've been invited to come back to the city council to give your ideas, the president of the parish there. We're going to take a break. Bill Randall, congressional candidate running in the 13th District against Brad Miller. Glad to have him in the studio this morning. We're going to kick it over to Joe Catanacci for traffic and weather here at the Big Talker FM, WLTT.